Okay, bit of an impromptu retro review. I wasn't really planning on doing this, but then again, what is this channel? This channel has no meaning. I just kind of go on a whim here. I try to have fun with what I do. I've done some reviews more for recent releases like Top Gun and stuff, but I haven't really done anything old school of the sort. But given a recent reactor's reaction to this film, a film that I had actually initially suggested to her on a live stream of hers, Rhetorical Thrill. I'll link her channel down below. So if you're looking for a good, fun reaction channel, I would suggest checking her out because, well, she does do a very good job at her reactions. She is very genuine. She actually really is very sharp and witty, and she really adds a lot when she's reacting to these types of films. So I would suggest going and seeing that channel. But given that I did kind of plant the seeds for that review in a sense, and watching her reaction just recently, I kind of it made me kind of want to just do a little something different, just have a little bit of fun, going back and talking about an older film, an older comedy that I personally really enjoy, a film that I could probably say is perhaps my favorite comedy of all time. And what I feel really makes that film what it is that it really is Joe Pesci, Marissa Tomei, just being a really solid duo with one another, as well as the entire surrounding cast. Uh, I feel like there's not really a single wasted moment in this film. I feel like every single scene, every single little bit of dialogue actually has some meaning to it. It's not kind, it just kind of just throws different things at the wall and just seeing what sticks. It's like, no, it actually is rather coherent. You'll have little jokes that are set up that pay off later. You'll have running gags with Vinny and him just trying to get some sleep and trying to deal with the whole court proceedings, which he fails miserably at starting off. But as the film goes along, he gradually gets better. And so that's where you have the star of the film, is that you have Ralph Macchio and his friend stopping off at this one random little grocery stop, gas station in Alabama, going off to college. They go buy some groceries. They're just paying for stuff. He's got whole piles in his hand, so he puts a can of tuna in his pocket, forgets to pay for it. They get pulled over a little ways down the road, thinking that they got pulled over for that because they were joking in the car earlier and be like, "Oh, the laws are medieval down here. They'll execute you for just the tiniest little thing." And so they think that at first, but of course, after they have pulled out, it seems as though that, hey, some other stuff went down. They shot the cashier, and and so it's just this whole big misunderstanding, and you just kind of wonder, it's like, okay, well, what did happen here? And they're getting caught up in it. So how's that all going to play out? So he has to call his cousin Vinny to come and deal with the proceedings, as I said. And so therefore, it's just kind of just going through that process of just watching this more amateur lawyer, someone who hasn't been studying for very long, and it just hilarity ensues. And so that's where a lot of the charm comes in because, well, Joe Pesci has always been a solid actor. He's been a great mobster, a character that you could really hate. If you watch movies like Casino and Goodfellas, he plays a real just aggressive, just guy that you could easily hate so much. And yet you go to other things like Home Alone, where he's just playing the kind of bumbling burglar type, and then you go to this where he really is just truly likable, just a full-on Italian New Yorker, just with a great sense of humor. And he's just so good in this movie, along with Marissa Tomei, who is just as good. If some ways you could say she's better than him. And this is another point because this is how you write a proper female character, especially for a comedy like this. Someone who is truly competent. She's not just his girl just sitting there, acting like a buffoon, just dumb, or like, no. And they don't overcompensate. This is how you write a proper character, someone who knows mechanics, someone whose entire family has been full of mechanics, and so therefore she plays a great hand in the part later on down the line. And so their dynamic is just truly fantastic. Just the banter back and forth, the insults and stuff that fly when they're dealing with other people. Someone who stiffs her on a bet, and so he goes back, he tries to bargain with them, and it just becomes this whole thing. And again, just a running gag that winds up paying off when he actually has to get the money from the guy. as well as just him dealing with the judge and just his attitude around him, and how the judge is just a no nonsense type of guy. And that's another great thing too, is that because there's no real antagonist per se. You'll have, again, the one guy kind of dealing with the bet situation, and you might have some hard feelings towards some of the jury early on because you know the deal and how everything seems. But no one's really a bad guy. It's not like it's a corrupt judge looking to throw these two guys in jail. It's not like the other, uh, the other lawyer involved here. It's not like he is purposely trying to screw Vinny over. It's like, no, he's actually a rather straight shooter when it comes to his deal. And then you look at the situation that's playing out, it really is kind of like this one in a million scenario once you see everything and how it all plays out in the end. And how you could actually see to where, yeah, unless you had the right bit of evidence, then this easily could have ended badly for him, but it's not really like that. Like everyone actually kind of hits stuff pretty well. They kind of have their own bonding moment, and it goes to this moment where he lends Vinny his cabin out in the woods just so he can try to get a good night's sleep. But of course, that in and of itself doesn't go on very well. And so you just have that running gag of him just trying to get sleep, and him just trying to deal with court proceedings, and him just trying to dress appropriately in front of the judge, which he continuously just fails at. But again, as it goes along, things just gradually get better, and everything just has a payoff. And no one is really looking to fuck somebody over just for the sake of it. It's like, no, it's just actually everything is just solid happenstance, and where everything just kind of naturally progresses. Even little bits of information that Vinny picks up along the way. Like there's this moment where him and Mona Lisa, Marissa Tomei, where they go into this diner, they just order some breakfast. He happened to just, a little back and forth, a little small talk to where, he's just talking about, how to cook grits. And that comes into play later on with the court proceedings when he's actually questioning a witness, and how the timing of grits, how long it took you to make the grits, as opposed to, what you thought it took, and how you saw the guys coming in and out of the store, and how that plays a factor. So everything really has meaning to this film. Everything is just sharp, and for a film that's like 2 hours long, for a comedy, it really does flow. When you're watching it, I would say that this is almost the comedic equivalent of the Shawshank Redemption, where the Shawshank Redemption is like, yeah, that kind of 2.5 hour long sort of drama where, yeah, you have a lot of this deep stuff going on, a lot of this, discussion and stuff here and there. But the film itself is also very simple, and it just has a way though of flowing where it doesn't feel like where you're just sucked into it every single time. Like both of these films, I could watch practically every day and not get tired of. So I would put these two up there as pretty much in my top five films of all time, just for those reasons. And that it just works. Everything about it just works. I can't really complain. Any complaint you would have would just be a literal nitpick, or as far as what you consider logical of what would happen in real life. But that's another point too, is that a lot of these lawyer channels who point out flaws basically in a lot of films and court proceedings and how they execute them, this film is considered to be one of the most accurate as far as how that goes. And you just take that into consideration along with everything else, how sharp the writing is, how well the characters bounce off each other, how everyone plays a part, and nothing really just feels wasted or just pointless. It makes for a really solid film, and the jokes themselves are not over the top. A lot of it is just very, it's just very real. Again, just how Vinny just reacts to the situations that he's put in, and how he bounces off of other people. Nothing feels like it's over the top and in your face. Everything just feels very organic. And when you get down towards the end of the film, when it comes down to the moment, the big reveal, and just kind of how they're figuring out the case, and how the tire tracks, and how the car, how all that stuff comes into play, and taking Marissa Tomei's character, her knowledge into account here, and how that really helps save the day essentially for the two guys who are about to be executed for this crime that they did not commit. That one little 1% of evidence that really just saves the whole thing, and how they play that out. That monologue in of itself is just phenomenal. every single time she nails that role. And that is how you write a proper, strong female character. This movie is a prime example on how to do that. A girl who is sharp in her own right. I mean, she's constantly giving Vinny shit, but she's not like overpowering him. Like they both have their strengths and weaknesses, but they both play an essential part to one another. They're all just basically two sides of the same coin. And this part is where she really excels and again saves the day. Her knowledge of automotives because of her family, because her father, her brother, her cousin, her uncle, like everybody in her family is a mechanic. And so her knowledge is just that it works naturally. It's not there to outshine or all of a sudden be like, oh, strong woman. Now she's got to be the one to show up all the guys in the courtroom. It's like, no, everything just works. That's how you do it properly because a lot of films these days, they just want to automatically make someone perfect and this and that, not give them any flaws. It's like, no, 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 no. This is the most organic case of in which you could actually have a woman come in and throw out all this dialogue and all this knowledge and be the one key component to save the day in this one in a million scenario. It just works every single time. This is the most prime example, especially when we got a writer's strike going on. This is how you write a film where everything and anything is essential and works into where you just get a nice ending where everyone is just all cool with it. It just it's the perfect ending for this film as well. Like nothing is wasted. It's an absolute good time. So if you have never seen this film, I would absolutely recommend it. But no one watches this anyway. Who's going to listen to me babble on about this? But yeah, this is just again an impromptu review of just a classic film. Absolutely enjoy it. Again, check out Rhetorical Thrill, her channel. I will link that down below. You'll have a good time. Trust me on that. I am Iron Raiden, and I am out.